Optimus Prime here. So it's time for the adaptation of a book review today, and today I'm going to be reviewing an adaptation which is based on the last third of the book by J.R.R. Tolkien today. And today, guys, I'm going to be reviewing the third and final part of the HOBBIT movie trilogy directed by Peter Jackson, which is The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, which is, of course, based on parts of the book of the same name by J.R.R. Tolkien. So, yeah. Now, this movie, guys, in my humble opinion, it is my least favourite live-action adaptation of a work by Tolkien. But for what it's worth, I actually think it's slightly better than, the animated films that I've already reviewed. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, to be honest, guys, after I, watch these animated films, I actually appreciate this film a lot more than I used to. And yeah, I'm going to say why. So, the Battle of Five Armies, I was pretty excited for this movie, to see how they'd end the Hobbit trilogy, and my excitement kind of paid off because I did enjoy the movie, but I did have some issues which I'm going to explain. But yeah. So this movie, of course, is about, as the name suggests, the Battle of Five Armies. But before that, of course, we continue right where the Desolation of Smaug left off, where Smaug the Dragon destroys Lake Town. And yeah, it was a very well visualised scene, most definitely, and very heartbreaking seeing everyone getting killed by the fire. But yeah, and then, of course, this then deals, of course, with the aftermath of it, where, of course, Baraborn killed Smaug with a black arrow. And then we then get set up to, the Great Battle, as it's called, the Battle of Five Armies. And yeah. So, positive mention, polish to definitely go to the cast, most definitely. For example, once again, I loved Martin Freeman as Bilbo Baggins. He's definitely really perfect for a role of young Bilbo, definitely. And once again, guys, I once again adored Sir Ian McKellen as Gandalf. It's like, there's no one who I would cast other than him as Gandalf. He's perfect for a role of Gandalf. Once again, I also love Richard Armitage as Thorin. Definitely, I love how he brought him to life in this movie again. And I loved all the other, cast members of the Dwarves, most definitely. They were all perfectly cast for their roles. I definitely like the acting given by both Evangeline Lilly and Orlando Bloom as Tauriel and Legolas as well. I thought they both played their roles really well. And there's also other, supporting characters. For example, one character introduction that I did like was, of course, Dane Ironfoot, who I believe is Thorin's brother, I think, yeah. Who Gandalf reckons Thorin is more reasonable than, yeah. Billy Connolly played him, of course, and yeah, he actually was really good in the role, very, very perfectly cast. He was actually pretty funny as well, because how he told the armies to sod off, and that was actually pretty funny, yeah. But he was perfectly cast for a role. He was very good. And another thing as well that I did love was, and the Battle of the Five Armies itself was very well visualised, very well choreographed, and the fight scenes were very good, very well made, most definitely. But my favourite scene in the entire movie, guys, I'm probably going to say it's probably the confrontation at Dol Guldur, in which Gandalf is rescued by the White Council. That was an amazing scene. It was brilliant, and, seeing many familiar faces that we've seen before in the Lord of the Rings trilogy come back. And yeah. Plus, that scene also is pretty sad when you realise that it's actually the final scene of Sir Christopher Lee in live action before he passed away. But it's not his final film ever because, as some of you may or may not be aware, he did, of course, do voiceover work after this movie. For example, he voiced a teddy bear that talks called Mr. President in a short film called The Angels of Notting Hill, which was released after his death. So yeah, rest in peace to Christopher Lee. And I think he also narrated some documentaries posthumously as well, because they were released after he died. So yeah, rest in peace to him. And I think even in that one scene he had, I thought he delivered once again an amazing performance, most definitely. And yeah, now, there are some aspects of the movie which I want to, defend, to be honest with you guys. One that I will probably defend is, I know a lot of people, dislike how Thorin was a complete jerk in this movie because, he was so arrogant and cruel. But then again, though, guys, that's good, because that's exactly how he was in the book. Because once he, reclaimed Erebor and, and was, looking for the Arkenstone, yeah, he was going mad, and that's perfect. That's exactly how it was in the book. So yeah, I think Richard Armitage did a very good job, showing Thorin going mad as well. Especially in the scene where Bilbo sees, Thorin apparently talking, gave him a voice of Smaug, which was pretty good, actually, pretty creepy as well. But all in all, yeah, it was very good how they made Thorin go mad in this movie. It was very well acted by Richard Armitage. Now, but on to another thing as well that I do love as well about the movie, guys, is the conclusion to it, because, it was very sad to see Thorin die. But I have read the book, so I did know that he died, because he did get mortally wounded and he died after sharing a farewell with Bilbo. And then after that, after Thorin passes away, and Bilbo then returns to Hobbiton with only a small share of the gold, which he claims is enough for him to carry. We get to see him say his goodbyes to Gandalf, and yeah. And Gandalf reveals that all this time he knew Bilbo had the ring, which I kind of knew he did know about the ring, because we see Gandalf show a sign of recognition when he notices the ring being very quickly put in Bilbo's pocket towards the end of an unexpected journey. So yeah, I think he knew all this time, most definitely, and I was proven right in this movie. And then I also love as well the ending where, Bilbo returns to the Shire to see that, his house is up for sale, but then he reclaims it, gets all his stuff back, and then when he comes in, he looks at his one ring, and then we then get a time skip, all these years later, right at the start of Fellowship of the Ring, where we get to see, Gandalf visiting Bilbo, but it's from Bilbo's point of view. And it was also a very nice little pleasure to see Sir Ian Holm playing Bilbo in that scene. And I do believe that sadly it was his final film appearance, guys, before he passed away last year at the age of 88. So yeah, rest in peace, Sir Ian Holm. And I'm pretty sure that, they used the exact same dialogue from the Fellowship of the Ring, exactly the same. I think they took the recordings and put it over the actors, mouthing them. So yeah. But yeah, it was a very nice little setup. And guys, the ending of this movie makes me want to rewatch Lord of the Rings again. Like, it really does set it up so well. It really does. I've got to give it credit for that. Another thing that I did also like was I liked how they got Billy Boyd to sing the song in the credits called The Last Goodbye. And I like how, just like in Return of the King's credits, we get to see, drawings of the cast alongside their names in the credits. That was a very nice little touch. But on to my issues with the movie, guys. I've got quite a lot, which is why it's my least favourite adaptation in live action. There is one thing that, the movie did unfaithfully to a book, which was the way Bard learns about how Smaug is Smaug's weakness, because as you may be aware, guys, in the movie, Bard spots, the scale which has been removed to see, the black mark on Smaug where he can shoot a black arrow at, and he somehow instantly learns that's his weakness. Whereas in the book, however, and even in the terrible 1977 movie, guys, it's actually a little bird which tells him, a talking thrush, which Bilbo sends a message. He passes a message on to Bard using a thrush, and the thrush tells him about it. So yeah, it surprised me very much that they chose not to do that. Like, it really shocked me. But then again, that's one of the reasons why I gave the 1977 movie a 2 out of 10 instead of 0, because at least it got that right. But on to Battle of Armies, another issue that I do have is that, I feel like this movie was rushed a lot, because it is the shortest adaptation of, a work by Peter Jackson, which he's directed. The shortest adaptation of Tolkien's work, which he's directed. But then again, though, guys, if you want to watch a longer version, then please watch the extended edition, because it has more scenes, and it expands on the attack on Lake Town by adding a few more shots, and so it does the same with the Battle at Dol Guldur as well. But sadly, however, they don't show more scenes of the White Council, which is a bit disappointing. But, guys, I'm kind of glad they only had one scene, which was focused on, the start of Lord of the Rings, because I like how they maintained focus on the Hobbit himself, Bilbo, and the dwarves. I was happy about that, because, these films are being accused of focusing on other characters besides Bilbo, but that's not true, because if they weren't focusing on Bilbo only, they would have given, the White Council more screen time in this movie, but they didn't. They only had one scene, so yeah. I also wish that Beyond the Skin Changer had more screen time, because he doesn't join the Battle of Five Armies until towards the end of it as like a reinforcement, and the same applies to Radagast as well. But you know, I wish he had more screen time, because the only thing he does is he jumps off an eagle to attack. And Radagast, of course, you know, leads his rabbits into a battle on his carriage. But yeah, I wish he had more screen time as well. But I like how he got to rescue Gandalf. And speaking of, you know, the White Council, I did love Galadriel's commentation with Sauron with the light of Eärendil, the same light she gives to Frodo in The Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. That was very well acted. But yeah. And I wish we got to see more of Saruman, especially considering it was Christopher Lee's final live-action film appearance. Like, I wish he filmed more scenes showing him beginning his corruption of Sauron, because I was really curious to know how Sauron corrupted him. But I'm going to assume that maybe he confronted him, maybe, you know, in Mordor, and Sauron corrupted him and gave him Isengard to live in, maybe, I don't know. But yeah. So yeah, I kind of wish the movie was longer, because I feel like we really rushed it. But the extended edition, in my opinion, saves the movie, guys. So yeah. And there is also one thing I didn't really like about Toril in this movie, guys, which was her line she says to her father, Thranduil, about Killy, saying, you know, if this is love, then I don't want it. Which, it kind of annoyed me a bit, because, you know, she barely even knows Killy. Like, she's only met him a few days ago, and she already loves him. Like, really? Must have been love at first sight somehow. But yeah, I feel like they could have developed their relationship much better. But, I mean, to answer one question, guys, is this a better conclusion than, say, The Fall of Skywalker from 2019, as I call it? Yes, I think it was. Because the ending actually made me satisfied. I wasn't, you know, disappointed when I walked out of the cinema, when it was ended. I was satisfied. I was very, very happy with how it ended, you know. Because unlike The Fall of Skywalker, where I walked out with my head down, totally disappointed, I walked out of this, you know, with a smile on my face, because it felt satisfying, really. And yet I really enjoyed Battle of Five Armies, and when you watch the extended edition, guys, it makes me wonder, you know, why people hate it so much. But yeah. All in all, though, guys, this is me reviewing The Hobbit Battle of Five Armies, so because I do enjoy this movie, guys, but because I have those issues with the movie, like I did in my ranking I did last year, I give this movie 6.5 out of 10. I don't hate it at all, but yeah. I have a couple of issues with it, but that's it, really. So, guys, this is me reviewing The Hobbit Battle of Five Armies, directed by Peter Jackson. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to leave in comments what you guys thought of this movie if you've seen it. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on the movie. Also, be sure to join the team by pressing subscribe for more coming in the future. And fly, you fools!